Today we're going to look at a Pioneer. This one's a TM2. It's an 18-disc CD changer. It uses the 6-disc magazines. You can load 3 of them in and have 18 discs. This one was sent in by a viewer to see if we can get this one going. This one sustained a little bit of damage on its way here. Let's see if we can get this one sorted out. Let's check it out. Check this one out. It's a Pioneer TM2. This is a 18-disc CD changer. Uses the cartridge-based system. 6 discs per cartridge. It'll load 3 cartridges. And this one has a problem. If we turn it over, you'll hear the problem. Something loose inside. Was shipped into. I don't know if that happened in shipment. Cover looks to be a bit buggered up, so I hope it didn't get bashed around too much. But that's how it arrived. So let's pop it apart and take a look at what damage is on the inside. A very common problem on these units is there's a gear here that the teeth wear out on. You'll see it. See the teeth worn out? And then as it's lifting the mechanism, it will just slip back down. And now it's going to make a liar out of me. But there is a gear, that gear does wear. There's teeth that are actually missing on it. Just like that. This little gear down here has got to go. I do have a replacement, as the client that shipped it in already got a replacement gear for it and some replacement belts. So we're going to change the gear and we're going to change the belts, and that should make this thing work like $1,000,000. So to get that gear out, I got to take out the mechanism that controls it. So to change that gear, I have to remove the mechanism. It's actually quite easy once you remove the mechanism to change the gear, because it's just held in place with a cut washer. So we'll remove the cut washer. I don't even have to take out the wires here. I don't know if there's anything else wrong with this unit or not, but we'll start out with the obvious. The good old broken gear I changed when I was in the business. I've seen a few of these players, and I changed a few of these gears. They're pretty easy to do. Take off the cut washer, remove the washer, remove the gear, place the new gear on, place the washer back on. It probably wouldn't hurt to put a little bit of lubricant on there, even though there is some still on the post. We'll stick a little bit more on there just to make sure it's good. Change the belt. Now we can check the elevator mechanism. Make sure that everything goes up and down as it should. The other problem that I can see with this unit is the optical pickup. That fell out. And that goes on the mechanism over here. It fits in here. I should be able to put that piece back on, hopefully. Hopefully it's not broken. But that piece fell out when I turned the unit over. So let's remove the screws to hold the optical pickup in place. See if I can get the grommets back on and reattach it. Otherwise, it's not going to work that well. I don't want to damage this thing. That's why I'm taking the grommets right off. So that the grommets can be reattached without the screws in them, as I don't want the plastic pegs to break. Goes in there like that. This one goes in here like this. And the other piece that's fallen out, it goes into, where does it attach? Is it broken? Definitely goes over on this side, but how does it fit in? Is it onto here? Oh, is it broken? I think it's broken off. It used to sit in here like that. And that piece is broken. You can see the remains of it here. This piece is snapped off. So I'm going to have to get out the JB weld, and we're going to have to put this piece back on there and glue that piece on there. We'll put some JB weld on here. Hopefully that's going to hold it. Get the other belt out of there. I can see it here. We'll just flip it down. Take it out. Easy part was getting the old belt out. Tough part will be getting the new belt on. There. New belt is in place. Okay, 2 new belts and new gear. Let's try this thing out. when I press the button to unload the magazine, I can hear the mechanism. That one's not doing anything, number 2 is, but the magazine's not coming out. The mechanism that releases the magazine is this slide here. I'm just going to bring the unit up to the top. There's a switch under here. Bring it all the way to the top. You can see that actually, there's a lever here that operates this mechanism. I just wonder if it just needs to get reset all the way to the top. Okay, let's try powering this thing up. See whether it'll release magazines now. Okay, doing something. Okay, so that number 2 released. How about number 3? Number 3 releases. How about number 1? One's not releasing. There are switches on the side of the magazine that control the operation. I'm curious as to maybe these switches have gotten a bit dirty. So I think what I need to do is I'm going to take the board out, get at these switches and clean them. Just got to figure out how to get this. I think I may have to pull the entire transport out. I'll take the front bezel off instead. I think that's a little easier. I can probably get at these switches from here. It's on this board. I remove a couple of screws on the board. I may be able to get the board out of there without having to take the whole mechanism out, because the connecting wires are actually quite short. There we go. Okay, so there's 6 switches. So there's a bunch of pin switches on here. More than that, there's like 2, 4, 6, 8 switches on here. This is what controls this entire mechanism, the way that this thing operates. If you look at the intricate little gears and stuff on here, if you look at this, there's little switches here, little levers that operate these switches, and these type of pin switches are ones that are notorious for giving us all kinds of grief, all kinds of problems with Sony with these stupid pin switches. So I'm going to get some cleaner. We'll put some cleaner into all these switches and then see if I can get this thing back together. Because that's most certainly what's causing this thing to not operate properly, at least as far as releasing the cartridges. I still have no idea why the elevator's not working, but it's probably related, because as the elevator moves, as you can see, it moves this cam gear back and forth, which will operate these switches to tell the mechanism what it's doing. So certainly switches can certainly cause problems. I'm just going to use neutral on these ones. Okay, switches have been activated. See if we can get them back into their, get the circuit board back into its proper position. Easier said than done. There's that little piece of plastic that fell out. I don't know where that came from. It fell out of somewhere. So as I continue on this Pioneer, I'm going to have to take the chassis out because there's appears to be a problem in below the mechanism where it changes discs. So I got to take all this apart to get at it, just to check the alignment. I have to remove that because this other one does not unplug from the main board. So we need to remove that so that I can unplug the other plugs, so that I can remove the 4 plugs that connect, the 5 plugs that connect the mechanism. And I can remove the mechanism to work on it. Lift the mechanism out, put the big box aside. So if we turn the mechanism by hand, we'll find that it's jamming when it gets to here. The gear needs to turn all the way around to activate the switch, but it's actually physically jamming when we get to this point. So I have to investigate and find out what's causing this mechanism to jam. It goes all the way the other way. You can see the disc clamp moving up to clamp the disc into place. So that's fully loaded, but it's not going through the motions for the fully unloaded position. So I just have to investigate and find out what's happened. Was this damaged in transport? That's what I'm thinking. When it was shipped, something got damaged. It got dropped or something. But it's not. The mechanism's not working as it's supposed to. It's not completing the unload cycle, and until it does, nothing's going to work. Okay, now it's moving all the way back. It's like it was jamming on this. But why? Now it pushes all the way forward. Goes to the fully loaded position. Unloads. And retracts the disc. Like it's supposed to. But with this piece in place, it wasn't doing it. I was going to put it back in place again. Maybe it was just jamming, and I can reset it, and maybe it will work. I'm thinking maybe when it got bounced, it bounced this out of position. So I've just kind of put it back into position. It actually holds the top of the gear in place. So let's see if it'll go through the motions now without jamming. Okay, we're at the end of the travel. Let's see if it goes back the other way. I don't feel anything broken on this gear, but it actually holds this ridge, is what it does. It holds that ridge in place. So let's see if I can go all the way through the motion now without it jamming midway like it was before. Okay, now it's going through the motion. Excellent. I feel a little better now. I'm going to put some contact cleaner in this switch because these switches here are notorious for problems. These little blue lever switches always give us headaches. I'm going to try and spray it away from the belt, as I don't really want. I'll take the belt off for now. This is a new belt, so I don't want to get any oil on it or it's going to slip. Let's see if that'll get that clean or keep it clean. Put the belt back in. Okay, now I'm going to just remount the mechanism and see whether I have any different results as I was getting before when it was jamming and it just wasn't doing anything. So fingers crossed. That's the only damage that's on this, is that that clamp, this clamp here. This is the one. It was jamming on this clamp. So I took the clamp off and put it back into place and made sure that it was sitting on this ridge on the clamp was sitting on this little guide on the gear. That's all I've done. If you couldn't see it, I'm sorry, because the mechanism's in the way and I kind of have to see what I'm doing, and sometimes that means the camera can't see exactly what I'm doing, so I'm telling you what I did. All I did was I took out this one screw here, took this clamp off and put it back on, and now it's not sticking anymore. So the mechanism just sits in place just like that. Real easy. 4 screws, that's all that holds it in place. At least they've used color-coded plugs. That'd be a real problem for a tech that's colorblind. Actually, you shouldn't be a tech if you're colorblind. We had one guy out here years ago. He was he ran a mobile shop, and I won't name the shop, but it had mobile and TV in the name, and it was actually featured on one of the local TV stations because they set him up. They did a sting and blew a fuse and something, and then took it into had his shop take a look at it. Anyway. The guy, I swear, was colorblind because I'd get TVs coming in and the color was just horrendous. We would get TVs coming in and the color was all messed up. And the customer would say, oh, we had it to this other shop, and when it came back the color was messed up and we'd go in there and have to adjust it or fix it. And we used to swear that the guy must have been colorblind. And who knows, he probably was. Okay, I'm going to try this unit now. We'll power it up. And see if it does anything. I think I got all the plugs in. Oh, it might help if my bench power would actually work. Bloody power bar. power. Well, let's see whether it will accept and eject the magazines. There's number 1 in. Oh, it loaded. It loaded a disc. Let's plug it in and see if we get any sound. That's not the sound, by the way. That's my radio. Play. This will be the CD if it plays. Well, it's loading the disc, but it doesn't seem to be playing. And you can see the elevator's working on here, but it's not playing the discs. Interesting. Let's go back to disc number 1 and see if it'll go back. It says no disc. So it's not reading. Okay. Now what the hell's wrong with this thing? At least it ejects the magazine properly now. We'll try that again. Doesn't attempt to even spin the disc. At least I know now that I can reattach the front because the mechanism's working. It's not reading the disc. I'm concerned that the laser may have been damaged or the pickup may have been damaged because if you remember, this piece was broken and I had to glue it back on. But we've made progress, so let me get the front back on, and then we'll dig into the laser pickup. Okay, the unit's back together. Let's remove the optical block and just see if there's any attempt for the unit to try and focus. So say the optical block may have been damaged when this was shipped, or it could be the flat flexible cable here too, because this thing was flopping back and forth. So it's possible that this flat flexible cable is damaged, but we'll find out when I take this, open this up. I'm just going to try loading the disc and see whether it attempts to focus. So I have to watch the optical pickup as it does this. See if I see any light. Oh yeah, there it's trying to focus. The lens is moving. But I don't see any output. I don't see any laser at all on this. Oh yeah. Yeah, there it is. It's there. I can see the little red light glowing. So I know that the laser is putting out a signal. What I'm not so sure about is because this bracket was snapped and I glued it back into place, it may not be in the correct position and may not be focusing on the disc and therefore detecting the disc. That is probably what is wrong with this thing now, because remember when it came out, that was snapped. So I'm going to check the ribbon cable here for continuity. So we're just going to undo that, take it off, and then I'm going to take it off, and then I'm going to measure it. This is a real source of problems. Like, I changed literally hundreds of these things over the years. It's come out like that. We'll just measure all the contacts for continuity. It is moving the lens up and down, but that doesn't mean anything, because if it's not reading the signal back from the pickup, it will never try to focus. So quite often these break just because, one, it's bending back and forth here with the laser moving back and forth. This is always doing this when it's playing, but also this one here is moving up and down. And when, as I say, when this gear was broken and this was slamming back and forth when it was being shipped, not only did it shear off this plastic tab, but it was also putting a hell of a lot of stress on this, right at this end here. So let's check this and see if this is where the fault is. If this measures good continuity all the way through, then we got a bad pickup. And this whole block would probably have to be replaced. That's one piece, because I think, oh, you know what? I know what the problem is. Not only did this one break, there was supposed to be another one right here, and you can see it's gone. That's why it's not holding this in place properly. That is why it's not working. This needs to be replaced, this whole block, because these pieces are part of it, You can see the piece that's broken. That's probably that other couple pieces of plastic that fell out of the, there was a couple more pieces of this type of plastic that fell out of here. That's what's happened. That is broken right there. You can see it. Now that the ribbon cable that went across here, right, the ribbon cable went across like this. Now the ribbon cable's not there. You can see that's missing. This bracket's going to have to be sourced. That is going to be difficult, I would imagine, to find that. But easiest way to do this is just to put your probe right across one side and just start measuring all the rest of them and see if there's continuity between all the other contacts. So let's measure it and see. Here we go. Let's measure it. Continuity. Yep. Okay, so that's okay. The flex cable's fine. Let me plug it back in here. I'll just try loading and pull this up with my finger and see if it'll start spinning the disc. Okay, plug back in. Let's see if it will spin if I lift this up a bit. Nope, still not. But I'm sure that's part of the problem. I don't know whether it's up or down. Anyway, that's going to have to be replaced, so we're going to have to try and find that bracket. Anyway, I'm going to close this one off now because there's nothing more that I can do on this until this bracket gets sourced, which may mean finding another Pioneer like a 6-disc changer to rob it out of. That's what I will be looking for. I'll go looking for one and see if I can find a Pioneer 6-disc changer at like the thrift shop or something that I can steal one out of, because that's probably going to be the best way to get one. Then I end up with another one of these as well. As far as trying to find a new part, that's going to be virtually impossible. Anyway, so I'm going to close this video off now at this point, and we'll pick this up again once I find another pickup block for it. See if we can get this thing going. I'm pretty confident that it's going to work now. The mechanism itself is fixed, the gear is replaced, the mechanism timing is repaired, so it should work once we get a new part. Thanks for watching. We'll catch you in the next one real soon. Bye.